Hey guys, it's QMA and this is the Roku 4. So I finally got it in the mail. I live in Canada and so you can't really order it from Canada for some reason, so what I had to do was sort of set up a US address and have it shipped from there. So needless to say, it did cost a little bit extra and it did take a little bit more time, but I finally got it. And so this video is primarily going to be on the unboxing and just first impressions, and I will be having a review later on in the week, but I do want to test it out a bit, put it through its paces before I upload or say anything bad or good about it. So yeah, this is what this is. So from the outside, it's not that different from previous Roku boxes. It's just showing that yeah, it supports 300,000 apps, which is incredible. I think it actually supports the most out of every set-top box. So if you are looking for one, Roku is definitely up there in terms of app compatibility. Another thing, they finally have 4K on this box, which is basically the big selling point for this. So they're showing that on the box as well, but let's just get into the actual box and see what we get. So the first thing we find in the box is this huge Roku box, and it is definitely huge. I have a Roku 3 and I did test it, and I think you can fit about 4 Roku 3s on top of the Roku 4, so that's how wide and huge it really is. It's pretty incredible. I didn't know it was going to be this big, but yeah, it is pretty big. It is supporting 4K, so maybe they did need that extra real estate. So yeah, there's that. Obviously, then you get the essentials like the power cable, the manual, the remote, the batteries, and all that stuff. So yeah, it came with all that stuff. But one thing I was disappointed in with this Roku box was the fact that there was no HDMI cable. You know, companies nowadays do get scrutinized for not including these, but I guess Roku did try to keep their costs down, and so they had to skimp on the HDMI. One thing I will say though is this Roku is the most expensive Roku that they've ever made. It's $130 USD, so it is pretty expensive. So that's why I kind of did expect a HDMI cable. But people nowadays do have HDMI cables lying around, like myself, have like 2 or 3 extra. So it wasn't a big deal, but I was expecting something like that. So just keep that in mind in case you guys do not have a HDMI cable. So now looking at the box in particular, just like whatever it has, as you can see, it's got that slim design. On the side, you can see there's one USB port. On the back, you have Ethernet, HDMI, micro SD, optical audio for any surround systems that require that, and the power cable for the power. So yeah, it's pretty minimalist. It's got everything you'd expect from a Roku, plus it supports 4K. So you have all those ports on the side and stuff, and then you have something on the top, a little button. And what this button does is basically it helps you find your lost remote. So what you do is you press that button as shown in the beginning of this video. You press the button and on the screen it starts pulsating and showing like, okay, there should be sound now from the remote. So then you just listen to the sound and go to the remote. This is pretty helpful. I hope this wasn't a reason for the cost to be so high, because honestly I could live without it, but if it was just a little added feature that they're like, we can just put this in, then I definitely am all for it. And yeah, just testing it out, it does work flawlessly. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about this feature. I don't lose my remote that much, but when I do, I get pretty frustrated. Just on a side note though, if you do lose your remote, there's a Roku app that works pretty well. It is kind of a nuisance because everything's touchscreen and it's not tactile, but if you do ever lose your remote or break it or whatever, you can just use the app, which works flawlessly as well. So I stated earlier in this video that the Roku 4 is a lot bigger than the Roku 3. So here's just a side-by-side comparison of the two. In my opinion, the Roku 4 does still look nice, even though it's pretty big. It's a lot bigger than even the Fire TV, if you guys are looking into that, or even the new Apple TV that's going to be coming out, or may have came out actually today. But honestly, I like that it has a slim profile. I don't care about the width and all that stuff. So yeah, for me, the Roku 4's design and everything is fine. It's definitely a huge departure from their previous iterations, but the fact that they added 4K, they added 5.0 gigahertz Wi-Fi, supports AC Wi-Fi. It has like all this brand new technology that Roku's not particularly known for. They're usually good with optimizing their software with their hardware, so the fact that they did go all out with the specs here, when I say all out, like I don't mean like top of the line PC specs or something like that, but in terms of a set-top box, they did go all out with it. It does support 4K. It does have that 5.0 gigahertz, 2.4 gigahertz dual AC Wi-Fi band, compared to the Roku 3, which does not support AC. So they did try to put everything they could in this box at a reasonable price, and I think the reason for that is because cord cutting has become a lot more popular. People are finding that they can find their shows now without you know, signing up for a cable subscription, and the fact that they have competition from like the Fire TV and the Apple TV and all that stuff. So I do think that they decided, okay, now we gotta actually show that we can put pretty monstrous specs in here and get really good performance. So I do like this move that they're having, even though it's 130 bucks compared to the regular like $100 price point. It is effective because I think these boxes will last a lot longer. So this was basically just me unboxing the Roku 4 and just giving my first impressions. I will have a full review later on in the week, but I just want to put it through its paces and see if it bugs out like my Roku 3 does occasionally, not a lot. I still like my Roku 3. But yeah, that was my first impressions. I'm going to be doing a review, and hopefully you guys can see this thing in action, and I will see you guys in the next one. Alright guys, thanks. Bye.